Okay. If we talk about the stock ban, so what's your, now that there's a discharge filed, do you want to try to work something out, or what you?
We have been trying to work some. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Vacation and it was nice to see you.
Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Yes, sir. We have been working on the issue. Brian Stile is, of course, chairman of the committee of jurisdiction, and he's been working overtime, talking with all the members of the various parts of the conference that have different ideas on it, and he's come up with, I think, a formulation that would solve the problem. The main concern everybody has is that we don't want insider trading. We don't want people cheating the system and abusing their office. So there's probably a way to do that still allows for lawful conduct by members, and I think
To still own equity.
right. Because you don't want another deterrence for good people running for office.
It's already illegal to insider
It
trade.
is. We need to police that better, and so that's the one thing I think everybody agrees on. So I'm confident we'll be able to find, to be able to thread the needle so that we meet the members' concerns, and then we do it in a way that doesn't deter good people from running from office.
Mr. Speaker,
But
can I
does
ask about
that mean
Tennessee?
that on the bill that she has, I think that's you're not, I don't know if you read it or you're
I haven't reviewed the provisions of her bill, but I've talked to Anna quite a bit about this, and I said you need to let the process play out, and there's a lot of good people working on this, and we'll come to something that will satisfy everybody, but you got to let that happen, and sometimes she gets anxious and wants things to happen quicker. So I don't think she'll get the requisite signatures on a discharge, but everybody is operating in good faith right now. The chairman and I met about it yesterday morning before she did that. And I was very encouraged by the progress he's made. He's talking with all the stakeholders. We'll be meeting with members in groups over the next few days and early next week. And the idea was always to bring something forward, and I told Anna that, so I wish she hadn't have done that.
Can I ask about Tennessee, Mr. Speaker? Obviously, Republican victory last night, but the margin of victory was far less than the margin of victory for the incumbent in 2024 and President Trump. Are you concerned that that's maybe a
I'm
bad
not
sign
concerned
for
at all.
Republicans next year?
I am excited about the win last night. As you know, I spent the last day before Election Day there with Matt Van Epps. He's an extraordinary candidate. He's going to be a great member of Congress. And let me talk to you about the margin of victory. The Cook Report rates that district as an R plus 10. He won by 9 points in a special election. That's actually right on target and what would be expected. Special elections are odd things, as you know. I was sharing earlier an example of Ron Estes of Kansas. Almost identical situation in the first Trump administration, 2017. The president won his district by 27 points. Ron Estes was elected by 7 points in a special election like that. But then he came back the following year in the big election year, and he won it by 20 points. So there are lots of examples like that. I could name 5 members right now had similar circumstances. Most recently, Randy Fine in Florida had an anomaly down in his race. But these things sort out. What we see is all positive signs ahead. We are very bullish. Y'all have all heard me say very bullish about the midterms. We have to defy history for the president's party to pick up seats in a midterm, but we have the team in place to do that. We have an extraordinary record to run on. Everybody's going to be feeling better about the cost of living early next year, first and second quarter, because all the provisions of the Working Families Tax Cut, the big beautiful bill, will become implemented. And all the things that we know and have projected will happen will. We're going to be in a very good shape going into that election.
With the Van Epps win, though, do you think that this might give agency to some Republicans who have talked about maybe trying to retire early? I know Green is leaving, but they say, oh, we got another seat. We got a margin here. You don't think there's going to be any more of that going on?
Certainly hope not, Chad. I hope everybody fulfills
Well, I know
their
what you hope, but
responsibility.
what do you think?
I don't think it'll happen.
And
I
why?
don't. Because I know the members here, and I know that they're dedicated to this cause and to the country, and they understand that small margins make it hard to govern. They don't want to be a part of the problem. I mean, we've got some great folks here, and people are, I think, going to fulfill their term, whoever's going to leave, and they'll work this all the way through the election, through the end of next year. That's what I expect. That's what I hope, and that's what I'll be encouraging everybody to do. So you have a duty here when you run for office, run for a 2-year term. You should stay and fulfill that.
What
That's
prompts
your
that
constitution.
chatter? I mean, some people say they are disappointed in things. They're upset about Russia. They're upset about, how the House was out for so long with the shutdown. They're upset about their committee assignments.
Yeah, look, these are not easy times. There are a lot of challenges for the country, and we're doing it in an environment where you have one of the smallest margins possible, smallest margins in history. And so it creates friction sometimes, and everybody has different ideas. And as I say every day, I'm in the consensus building business. I got to get every Republican to yes. There's a wide range of opinions and priorities among our conference because people come from all across the country from very different kinds of districts. But at the end of the day, everybody's got to get together. So as I say all the time, and I've said from the day that I got in leadership, I will often ask you to give up on your preferences, but I'll never ask you to compromise your core principles, and that's something I've maintained and I'll continue to maintain, and we'll get it done. Look, we had a great meeting yesterday with all the House Republicans over at CHC, and we talked about all the things we've accomplished in this extraordinary Congress. I've made the case. I think objectively it's one of the most productive, successful Congresses in the history of the country with all that we've accomplished. We put up big placards reminding everybody of all the things we've done. And I said the reason we were able to do that with the smallest margins in history is that we stood together. We stuck together. So as long as we do that, we will be successful. We'll advance the America First agenda, and we will save this country. We're on a rescue mission, trying to fix all the mess that was created in the 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration. You can't fix all that overnight. They literally messed up every area of public policy, destroyed it. And so we're trying to fix all that piece by piece, and it takes time, it takes patience, but steady and calm. Look, we're about competency, calm, and common sense here. We're going to just continue to project that every day, no matter the headwinds, and the American people are going to reward that next year.
When is
But
Van
to
Epp going to be sworn
Chad's
in?
point, though, it seems like morale is kind of low right now within the Republican conference. Would you agree with that assessment?
I do not agree with that assessment. I mean, people are disgruntled. Sometimes they don't get their priorities met. But overall, I think if you talk to individual members, they'll tell you they are very pleased. I was at Steve Scalise's Christmas party last night. Countless members coming up from across the conference, coming up, give me a hug, saying, we're doing this together. Thank you for your leadership. I can't believe the ridiculous stuff you have to go through every day, all that. We're happy warriors. We're all sticking together. And we know that if we do that, we can accomplish our goals, which is to make America great again and get this country going. And we are. We're on that trajectory, and we're going to continue that. And I'm excited about it. And I think most all the members are as well.
When is Van
we'll
Epp
see how
going
it
to be
goes.
sworn in?
We know when he's going to be sworn.
When is he going to be sworn in, sir?
As soon as possible. I'm not sure. Well, I hope so. But I talked to him late last night after his victory party, and I said, he said, sir, I'm going to see you tomorrow or the next day. I said, well, Friday's not a session day, and so there'll be a lot of people leaving town. So I said, if we can do it by Thursday, that'd be great, and early Thursday would be great. So we'll see. Thank you. So we'll see. We'll see.